What's going on, people? It's your boy BSG. Congratulations. Congratulations if you held. Congratulations if you held. You know, if you've been on this journey with me, right? You know I've been telling you to buy, basically two things. Back here, September 2023, it was 26,000. We're not even 2 years from that. It's not September, it's July, right? 26,000. And there were a whole lot of people thinking, oh man, Bitcoin's gonna go down to 10,000 or whatever. And I've been consistent, right? And I've been trying to get you guys to understand why it's gonna go up. It's not just about, it's gonna go up. There's a reason why. Every time there's a dip, people would get discouraged, some people. And I know that some people sold. Some people sold back here. Some people sold back here. Right? 2019. Some people sold back here. Social media now is full of posts of, hey, I can't believe I used to own 640 Bitcoin that I had, but I sold it in 2015. Right? And I've been educating people since around that time, 2015, 2016. Almost everybody I run into, everybody I talk to, right? Anybody back here could have bought 10 Bitcoin, 20 Bitcoin. I've had conversations with people I know. Yo, man, you just need to buy some Bitcoin. I would talk to people there in real estate and they got, 3 or 4 houses, and I'm like, yo, man, Bitcoin is $300. You could sell one of those houses and buy, a lot of Bitcoin. But, I haven't even done a video in a while because I'm not just going to keep coming on here saying, hey, it's going up, it's going up. I don't do that. What I try to do is educate people, and I try to get you in here, right? And you still should be in Bitcoin. Right? Bitcoin is the money. It is the money. Everybody tell me, when do I cash out? When have you ever looked at a stack of $100 bills and say, man, when should I cash out these $100 bills? You cash out them $100 bills when you buy stuff. And most of the time, the stuff you buy, right, doesn't retain its value. Life is really, really simple. Making money is really, really simple. You work for your money, but then most people spend what they work for stuff that's going to depreciate. So basically, most people are working for free. They're working for nothing. If you're working for a car and that car loses 80% of its value, right? I saw a social media post. Somebody had bought a $200,000 car, and in 1 year, it was $100,000. That was the value. They lost 50% in 1 year. If they keep holding that, it's going to keep going down. So what sense does it make to work for stuff that's just going to devalue? That's what most people are doing, right? So crypto allows us to take the money that we've worked for and put it into something that has the potential to go up, right? And that's what I've been saying all this time. So if you're not putting it into crypto, if you're not putting it into real verifiable assets, gold is not verifiable, right? Crypto is that one thing where we have typically things that we can look at to determine its value. Right. So I just wanted to get that out the way before we get into what we're really going to talk about. And that is the fact that BYAS, if you saw the tweet, they put out a screenshot of what the marketplace is going to look like and what everything else is going to look like. And so I have the privilege of being able to look at, a test version or, pretty much close to the real thing of what it's going to be when it's released. They're still tweaking some things. right? They wanted me to make sure that I, reiterate that. They really, honestly, I had to fight for this. They didn't want me to do it, but I'm like, let me just show a little bit so you guys can be prepared. So when it comes out, you'll know what to do, so on and so forth, right? But some of you know what this, we know what this looks like. There's a new animation here. This animation is hilarious. You see that, kissing, all of that, you know what I'm saying? And my man checking for her. He acting like he ain't looking. She getting an attitude. This is hilarious right here. But what we want to pay attention to, first of all, you can see I don't have anything but AVAX here, right? We want to go to the marketplace because, this is the main thing that wasn't here. And this is, part of the screenshot that they showed, right? And they were kind enough to list, some, test NFTs, fake NFTs, right? So if this is your Dino Biddy, right, this is just a test, right? As well as this, there's going to be new millies, and this is just a test. This ain't real, right? So don't be thinking they about to come out with some of this ain't real, right? But you see, some things are listed. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to show y'all how this works. Now I'm gonna buy this. And when I try to buy it, it says, hey, I need 500K 100 or whitelisted NFT. I need at least 500K 100 or a whitelisted NFT. Now, what does that mean? So, since I don't know what the whitelisted NFT means, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I got at least 500K 100. So, you can see here, this is a test as well, but this is real USDC. But this is, as you'll see real soon, this is not real 100, okay? So I'm getting ready to get 7 million 100 for 10 cents. We know that ain't real. Right? Okay, so I approved it, and now I'm going to go ahead and swap it. All right, so I swapped it. You see I got my 7 million 100 now. And you can see now that my 100 is in the wallet. So just so you guys understand what's going on here, this is not the real 100. It's not going to be the real BYAS or nothing that. So they've created, right, these tokens on testnet to mirror exactly what's going to happen on mainnet. Right? So, I mean, that's incredible. So we get to see, okay, how it's going to be. Everything is going to work exactly the same, but they had to create all of this stuff separately. And now we're going to see if I'm able to, buy that NFT that I wanted to buy. Right? So we got this one here, which I just think is hilarious. My man like, hit buy. Okay, once I hit buy, there's a couple transactions that comes up. You got to approve it, and then you got to actually go through with it. But as you can see right here, this is in my collections tab. I got my dilly right here with little man. Like, I really don't know what you're doing. Please watch your hands, right? Like, I mean, like, for real though, Doc, like, what is you doing? Your stethoscope is not even on, right? Your stethoscope is not on, and where are your hands? Your hands, that's not my heart, bro. That's not my heart. My heart is up here, right? You trying to grab something else. So that's what's, that's what's going on here. Like, you know what I'm saying? We ain't going to talk about that, but why you grabbing there? I'm not sick right there. You know what I mean? So we got that, right? So now, what I want to show you next, I'm gonna go ahead and since I got it for a really good price, I'm gonna go ahead and try to list it. So listing it, I'm gonna list it for $50. Now, what you don't see is the only reason I can list this is because I now have 100. And to list it, it's you got to have at least 1,100,000. Okay, so 500K to buy something, and at least 1,100,000 to list it. Okay, here's my NFT right here that I listed it, and I listed it for $50. Right, and then there's an edit button. Right, I'm not going to get too much into that, but basically, after so much time in the marketplace, if you wanted to change the price or anything like that, you can use this edit button. But again, you're going to have to maintain, the minimum amount of 100 to do any of this. So for those of you who might be thinking, oh, I'll just get the 100 that I need listed and then, sell 100. Not going to happen. There's also this new feature called Make Offer. Okay, so before somebody had to actually list their NFTs for you to see it. Now you don't have to do that, right? Because, I think most people, especially at these levels, y'all know how valuable this stuff is. Not everybody wants to sell it, but somebody might, make you an offer that you can't refuse. Right? So I like this Dino Biddy right here. So I hit make offer, and then it tells you what the offer fee is and what the minimum offer needs to be. All right. So offer fee is $2. This is to prevent spamming and bots and stuff like that. There are bots that run on all these other marketplaces. So bots is not going to pay $2 to bot somebody. Right? Yeah, they do fake transactions on the marketplaces as well. So this pauses all that. So this lets you, lets people know that you're serious. So, and it checks your balance for you, right? So you hit continue. But I just want to show you something real quick. You see, I have available 199 USDC. If I try to offer more than what I have, see, it's not going to let you do it. Okay, it's telling you the max of what you have. This is very important because on other NFT sites, they'll let you offer what you want to have, and they won't necessarily confirm that you have what you have in your wallet. Right? And then even if you were to make this offer, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to go ahead and offer 100. If you make this offer and then you were to remove those funds, so it's less than the amount that you need, then even if the other person accepts the offer, it won't go through. All right, so I've made my offer, right? And so I want to check and see if somebody has accepted it. And I know that they're not because it's just me. But I just want you to see, you hit this My Offers button, and it shows that which NFT that you're bidding on, when it expires, the fact that it's pending, and all of that, right? You can also withdraw the offer if the seller hasn't accepted it yet. But again, if you withdraw it, you lose that $2 fee. So that fee keeps everything on the up and up. It lets the seller know that you're serious, cuts down bots and all of that, right? And then you just wait for the seller. If they accept it, then, they get the $100 and you get the NFT. Okay, now let's get into one of my favorite parts, and that is, this wonderful technology, this zero energy mining. Whole lot of people missed out on Bitcoin mining, right? I'm not even sure that, if I was there at the beginning of Bitcoin, that I could have afforded to mine Bitcoin. Like I might have wanted to, but literally I was broke, right? Like I didn't have a bed, you know what I'm saying? So I know that those electrical bills were pretty high. And a whole lot of people quit mining Bitcoin because the electrical bill was higher than the value of Bitcoin. Now, that in turn gave Bitcoin some type of intrinsic value. So it wasn't all bad, but it limited the opportunity to people who could afford, $2,000 electric bills, right? Well, I was not one of those people. So, I would have had to wait until Bitcoin was on exchanges to buy it, right? Or I would have had to trust somebody to give me Bitcoin in exchange for, some pizza or, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Which, again, those kind of transactions can go bad, because if I send somebody, whatever I had at the time, you know what I'm saying? It's possible that I wouldn't have gotten that Bitcoin back. There was nothing to prove, that they had the Bitcoin, or even for that person to prove that I had what I said I had. So that's why I said this marketplace is so interesting, right? When you use the offer feature, this is the power of blockchain. It's guaranteeing that you have the amount of money that you're supposed to have, right? And of course, that that other person has the NFT because you wouldn't see it. You can't fake it or anything like that. You know what I mean? So that's the power of blockchain. It makes things more fair, right? But let's go ahead and, get into, these Dino Biddies. And so I'm just going to go through, for those that have never seen this, how you would want to do this. And first of all, let's start with why. What is BYAS? What is Dino Biddies? BYAS is balance, yield, autonomous savings. That's what it is. Balance, yield, autonomous savings. What does autonomous savings mean? It means that you're going to be making more BYAS autonomously, not having to do anything, not having to spend any electricity, nothing like that. Okay? That's the beauty of that. So what are the Dino Biddies about? The Dino Biddies are tokenizing BYAS. Is providing the BYAS that you have with an identity that you can, sell if you wanted to, right? It's like intellectual property. See, 100 as it is right now, it has utility, it has use case, it's got the best utility in the world, right? But it's tokens, right? And so if you, wanted to, give somebody these tokens or something like that, they're going to receive these tokens, whatever the value of it is. And you'll see tokens in your wallet. With Dino Biddies, you'll have some BYAS, but you can now mint some NFTs. And then the NFT you get might mean more to somebody else, more than the value of what the BYAS is. Right? That's what NFTs are about. Like, let's keep it real. People have spent millions of dollars on NFTs. Right? And those NFTs were they were just pictures. They had no utility. These BYAS NFTs, they're going to pay you just to hold it. Right? It's not like just having a JPEG. You're going to get paid just for holding it. Right? But there's also additional benefits as well as to somebody why they might want to purchase the Dino Biddy for more than what you paid for it. Okay. So let me go ahead and show y'all how this is going to work. So you see I got no bias here, right? So I'm going to go to the swap to get some bias. And so I'm going to switch to bias down here. I know what I need now, at least 2.1 million, right? And the more bias you use, the more it will mine for you, the greater percentage that you'll have. I'm going to show you that. All right. So let's go ahead and let's see what this is. That is, was that 3,953,6. Okay, that's fine. Okay, now that I've swapped the bias, now I'm going to go back here and you see that it has updated. In fact, a whole lot of stuff has happened. All of a sudden, I have this little egg here that is definitely ready to crack, okay? And if I refresh this, let me see. All right, and there we go. Had to refresh it, but you see we got our little miner going, and then there's a percentage. What is this percentage? This percentage is the percentage of the network that I own. Okay, so I own 0.02% of the network, right? Now, here's the crazy part. As more people buy, as some people sell, and so on and so forth, my percentage has a chance to increase. Because the way that bias works is there is a 3% fee on all transactions, right? And at least 1% of that goes to the holders. 1% is burned, 1% goes to the holders, and then as of now, 1% goes to charity. That is subject to change, right? And by subject to change, I mean it's possible that we might be getting more back. It's possible that we might be getting more than 1% back, okay? So keep that in mind. So I now have 3.8 something million bias. Okay, so since this egg is ready to crack, I'm going to go ahead and hit mint. So let me do that now. This will bond this many tokens of your bias tokens from this wallet to this NFT so that you can earn passive rewards forever. Continue. So it's letting you know, right? These tokens will be bonded to this NFT forever. All right. So, you know, the value will be in the NFT. Okay. So, yes, we want to continue because we want the value of the bias. We want the utility. We want the features of it. This NFT cost me 6 cents to mint in terms of the gas. 6 cents. For those of you who are wondering why the devs decided to move to Avalanche from Ethereum and all that, this is why. 6 cents. Right? This would be hundreds of dollars on Ethereum, and there are still NFTs where the gas is hundreds of dollars on Ethereum, right? We don't want that. We want, you know, everybody to be able to, you know, get this, right? So you can see now my bias is not in there. My percentage is 0 now, right? Where did it go? So we're going to hit collection. All right, so this is my Dino Biddy. Yes, sir. Dino Biddy. Got the glasses on. Right. Got the little gold chain. And he got a regular red heart. He cool, man. Okay, let's see what the... Right. Here we go. Regular human heart. Gold chain. Oh, 0.9%. Let's go. Only 2.3% got the sunglasses. And he, you know, his skin is smooth. That's what we want. Okay. We don't... You know, I'll take smooth skin. I know there's other more rare skins out there. I like my skin smooth, okay? All right, so now let me show you the crazy thing about these dyno biddies. Okay, watch this now. Let's pretend it's somebody else. Let's pretend somebody else buys some BYAS. All right, so now let's go back to our dyno biddy, and what do you know? Look at that. Our freshly minted dyno biddy just made 199 BYAS. Right? Just really from our own swap. Okay? Now this person doesn't have enough to mint a dyno biddy. Need 2.1 million. So we need to buy some more. All right, now we got 2.29 million BYAS. Okay. So now let's see. Oh, we made a little more. You see the BYAS is there. 100 is there. Egg is ready. Let's go ahead and mint another. Okay, I just sent the transaction through. And you see the BYAS is gone. All right, and there is my new dyno biddy. Okay. And let's see what they talking about. Okay, Bitcoin mouth, that is rare. Stoneheart, that is rare. Uh-oh. Bitcoin headphones plus gold nose ring. Less than 1%. Oh, that's crazy. That's super rare. You see the nose ring and the headphone. That's a combination. Less than 1%. There's only 700 and something dyno biddies, so like less than one. This might be one or two of these, right? So again, somebody just, because of that feature, Bitcoin headphones, and this is kind of rare. It's got the Bitcoin eyes and mouth, right? Y'all got to understand that this is random, right? This is a random occurrence. So, in order, the way the NFTs work, right, the designers and the developers put all these features together. They put these features separately, and then, when they're minted, they come together to form this, one of one NFT. So you won't find any other one like this with this background with Bitcoin mouth and Bitcoin headphone. Like this is a super rare one. So somebody might, want this one. You know what I'm saying? Again, when it comes to art, same with NFTs, it's whatever somebody is willing to pay. And so if they put a high value on this or what have you, it doesn't mint you anymore. What mints you more is adding more BYAS. So if you want to own more of the network, right, then, you use more BYAS. But in terms of like the features and everything, this one is way more rare than this one, right? But again, that's up to somebody, and you can list it and put it out there. Other thing that I've noticed, more BYAS. Here we bought more BYAS. We minted another dyno biddy ourselves, and it makes more BYAS for the one that we already had. Right? Now the value of this is obviously, based on the market cap, right? At 100 million market cap, $11. Right? What's $11? Okay, might not sound like a lot. First of all, it's only been 2 transactions. Okay, $11 is enough for people in a lot of countries right now. Enough for them to eat, enough for them to live, enough for them to survive. Right? $11 is enough to feed their family, everything. Because remember, it ain't 5 days a week. This is all the time. So that's like $300 a month in this scenario. Right? Now, of course, the more people get on, you're going to get less bias is being burned, so on and so forth. But as it's burned and more people come on, ideally the value of bias is going to increase, and over time it is going to increase. Anytime you have something that's deflationary, right, and more people using it, right, the value is going to increase. 2,156 bias, dude got 500 something, right? And, you know, it just keeps accumulating, right? And then, you know, you can, you know, unlike if you just held bias, you can just take the interest, if you want to call it that, or mining, or however you want to. I look at it as mining. But if you just want to take just this part, you can do that, right? It becomes a little difficult when you're just holding tokens in your wallet, because you can't really determine how much you made. It doesn't separate. This separates. So you know exactly, oh, I made this, so I'm able to claim, right, you know, the difference. You know, no crazy, you know, converters, or, you know, I didn't have to get an extra hookup to the city line or anything like that. It's using zero energy, you know. And to claim this, forgot to mention that, of course, you have to have 100. Okay? You got to have 100. All right? I'm going to go ahead and this fake 100, I would never do this if this was the real 100. Okay, so we go here now. We see I don't have enough 100. Okay, I didn't keep it 100. All right, so now let's see what happened. We got the Dino Biddies, and we're going to come here, and we're going to try to claim our bias. Uh-oh. Must have at least 1,100,000 to do this. Can't do it. Right? You can hit the button as many times as you want. Can't break it. It's blockchain. Right? What about this one? Maybe because it's pink, it'll work. No. You must have at least 1,100,000 to do this. So now if you done sold your 100, you know now that you're going to have to wait, right? You're going to have to wait 100 hours. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no using another wallet. Well, let me just use another wallet. That's what people say. Oh, you know, well, I ain't got to worry about the 100. I can just, you know, use another wallet. You can't use another wallet with this because your Dino Biddies are a part of this wallet. So you have to keep the 100 in this wallet. And it's also keeping, you know, right now it's keeping your 100 safe, right? What the devs have talked about is 100 keeping your other assets safe. So there's a reason why they did this, right? They know exactly what they're doing. They want to keep your assets safe. So if 100 becomes the thing that keeps other tokens safe and NFTs and whatever else, right? Then they might as well get you accustomed to holding 100. See, the days of crypto just going up just for the sake of going up, in my opinion, those days are over, right? What distinguishes crypto from stocks and everything else is its use case. It's its utility. Problem is right now, one of the only projects out there that's actually using utility is 100. Everything else is not focused on utility. It's just focused on a meme, focused on nothing. It's just a token, right? Everything out there is USDC in different denominations. It uses the same code as USDC. Most of the stuff on Ethereum uses the same code as USDC and Tether and everything else. There's nothing special about it. I was in Chainlink early. There's nothing special about the Chainlink token. Nothing. right? There's nothing special about the Aave token at the token level. You have to create all these things and all that, and right? But Aave doesn't even have it where you got to have Aave to use Aave. What sense does that make? So that's why people struggle with, well, what is crypto? What's the difference? Because if it's just about making money, then I can just buy stocks. Well, stocks just live, I would say on your laptop, but that's not even true. They live with your broker. Your broker just allows you to see what they own on your behalf. If your broker goes bust, so does your money. A lot of people don't understand that. But you can't take your stocks out to do anything. Right? Can't take your stocks out to buy a burger. They just sit on somebody's server. No, I didn't rhyme on purpose. I just got it like that. Right? So it's going to be easier for people to understand crypto when they start, well, wait a minute. So you're saying in order to use this marketplace, to simply use it, I have to have a token? Right? I gotta have it? Yes, you gotta have it. Okay? So let me show you this real quick. Because this is interesting, all right? These are the top NFT markets in the world, according to Dat Radar. Okay? And you got Blur. OpenSea at 1.27 million. I was shocked about that. Right? So, but that, that's not bad, but I would have thought OpenSea would be way more than that, right? Then you have other stuff, right? 5, 6. Okay, Ronin is, they're the ones behind Axie Infinity. So today, 103,000 in volume in the last 24 hours. Okay. One of the biggest platforms out there, 103,000 in volume. Right? All right. Then we get down here, and I just want you to look at these numbers. 6,000, 3,000, 2,000. Right? There's Decentraland. I've heard people talk about Decentraland a lot. Today, there were 70 traders, 68 sales, $1,700. Pancake Swap. I know all about them. Right? I was an early investor in Pancake Swap. Today, on Pancake Swap, NFT on Pancake Swap, 2 traders, 8 sales, $1,400. 2 traders, according to Dat Radar. 2, 8 sales. When BYAS launches and when this marketplace launches, I'm betting it's gonna be top 20 marketplace in crypto the first day. Right? And as they continue to build, we could easily be in the top 15 consistently. I mean, there's 7,000 in volume. These Dino Biddies, some of them are going to fetch a lot. One of them will fetch more than this. I'm not going to be selling any of my Dino Biddies, no time soon anyway. But if I did, it wouldn't be for these little numbers because I understand. Right? We just did a basic simulation, and, at a low market cap, 100 million market cap, right? We could possibly be at what, $20 now. Okay? Yeah. At $1, $2,000. We ain't there yet. At 10 cents, $215. At a penny, right? $21. So if something is making you $21 a day, you don't have to do nothing. All you got to do is keep it 100 and sit back and let your Dynobiddy, let the network do the work for you. $20 a day is $600 a month. That's $7,200 a year. So how much is this if it fetches $7,200 a year? You know, again, using these numbers, don't know what the real number is going to be once more people get on. That's why it's only 750 of them. That's why. These are limited, right? I know some people out there that's got rentals that don't clear $7,200 a month. And these people, the Dynobiddy ain't gonna never tear up your house. Right? So yeah, I won't be selling them, you know, for these numbers, but I'm just trying to give you some perspective. I want to show you how OpenSea grew. Right? And this is pretty much how everything grows. Right? It starts off slow. OpenSea started July 18th. Right? 4 people used it that day. Right? We keep going. August, 87 people are using it now. So from July to August, they gained 80 something users. That's great. Then 217, 732, 1300, 1700. This is OpenSea now. Now, 2 years later, let's go to July 2020. They have 2,500 users. Now, that is a far cry from 4 when they started, but this is not earth-shattering, news-making, none of that. 2,500 users. July to July. And then, I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden, 2021, 468,000 users, 500,000, 711,000. Okay. Now, I'm showing you this to show you how long it takes for things to grow. And again, this is actually pretty short. It can take longer than this. But also to say, okay, how did you as a user, let's say you were early here. How do you as a user capitalize on this growth? And the answer, as far as I know, there was no OpenSea token. There was no, them sharing, fees with you, sharing, rewards with you. There was none of that. But they didn't share that with their early users or anybody. The beauty about this and the reason why, you have people hold a certain amount of 100, right, is not only to verify that you're a real person, keep the bots away, right, secure, what's in your wallet. Well, not only that, but it's also a way for you to benefit from the growth of this single aspect of 100. And this is really just one aspect of 100 and BYAS. So if you got to have 1,100,000 and right now 1,100,000 is $91, and I'm sure it's probably going to be, maybe 10 users or 15 users the first day. I don't know. It's going to be similar to OpenSea. Sometime later, if there's 2,000 users like OpenSea, 1,100,000 will no longer be $91. Right? It might be $500 or, $1,000 if we 10x from here. Right? So you get to benefit. Let me just break it down like this. If 100,000 people are using this platform, right? Then there's not enough 100 to go around. There's not enough to go around. If 100,000 people, right, have to hold 1,100,000 or 500,000, whatever it is, and I'm sure as it grows, those numbers will be adjusted. You know what I'm saying? But still, as an early person, which if you're watching this video, you either are early or you have the opportunity to be early. The value of your 100 is going to go up. And this is, again, one tiny aspect on top of the keep it 100, on top of the security, on top of it's unhackable. Now it's part of your identity. Now you got to have it. You got to have it to prove that you're human. Right? Those stats that I just showed you on the marketplaces, some of those are not human. Some of those are bots. How you get rid of a bot is they got to have tokens. And if you make it so the only way you can get those tokens, if you have to buy them, right, then you know that's a real person. This is what crypto is about. It's about ownership. It's about utility, provability, all of that. How do I know that you're a real person? How do I know that this is another real person on the other end making an offer for this? Well, they have to hold so much 100. So somebody had to send it. There's somebody behind there. Crypto as it is right now, it's not like that. You can fake it. So as this grows, and I want to be clear, these are the same type of analogies I was using when PancakeSwap was 17 cents. And I was telling my group, yo, I think PancakeSwap could be $5 if this, and this. And sometime later it was $44. I didn't see that coming. Right? So this is what I'm talking about. I'm always underestimating. All I'm saying is if there's 100,000 people at any time, not next year, probably not, maybe not 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, right? At any time, if there's 100,000 people using this, there's not enough 100 to go around. What does that mean? So that means people not going to have none? No, what it means is at that point, that's when 100 will become more than $1. If there's only 80 something billion 100,000 people needing 1,000,000 is 100 billion. I did the numbers. That means now that the existing 100 is worth more than $1. There's always going to be a need. And I don't know any other way to do valuations. I've always done it like this, right? I did it with Aave. Okay, if Aave built something, so if 10,000 people are getting loans, do you think people would want loans? Yeah, okay. And the thing about it is, again, Aave didn't require. Aave would be one of the greatest tokens ever if they required you to hold even a little bit of Aave. They didn't. And it still went from pennies to whatever it is right now, $200 or $300 or whatever. Right? So, I'm thankful to the devs for letting me do this. Right? I'm great that you guys have the opportunity to see it. Just, so when it does launch, it won't be, no hiccups or nothing like that. I'm sure there'll be more details about everything and all that. But this, what I've showed you is pretty much it. And it's what the devs have been saying. You got to have 100 to do everything. Why? Because it's the most secure thing. We want to keep you guys secure. Right? See, when BYAS was launched, it was attacked by bots. it was attacked. It was like, what in the world is going on? Who's doing this? Bots. Right? Now it's less likely, impossible for 100, but less likely for BYAS that will happen because of this system. Right? So, adjust accordingly or what have you. You know what I mean? Like you said, if you sold, you're still early. You're still early. If I were you, I would buy back ASAP, right? And so you're not, like these Bitcoin people now. Now everybody talking about, oh, I should have bought Bitcoin. Oh, I should have. Man, I remember I had Bitcoin in 2015. And man, if I had just held instead of sold. Now everybody's singing that same song. Right? Well, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that's going to be singing that song when it comes to 100. Oh, I had 100 million 100. I had 40 something million 100. I had 200 million 100. And I saw some FUD and I sold. And I saw this person talking and so. And I saw this person saying BSG is doing this and that. And, he dumping on it. I ain't sold nothing, man. You getting caught up in that stuff, you're going to miss out on, what could, emphasis on could be life-changing. No guarantee, no financial advice. We don't know, as I always say, right? But when you build utility like this, and you have great developers like this, right, you increase your chances of being successful. All right, it's your boy BSG. I'm going to holler at y'all in the next video.